Coming up next, I'm going to tell you the 5 most annoying coworkers you could possibly work with, and then the most horrible boss story I've ever read. And then managers are quitting at an alarming rate, and we take your calls, and it all starts right now. All right, folks, welcome to the Ken Coleman Show, where we help you win at work so that you can win in life. They're connected, so let's get right to this. I want to set some of you free because we want to identify the 5 most annoying coworkers. We've got some archetypes, if you will, types of people, and let's not just all beat up on these folks. We're going to actually look at what may be going on there, and wait a second. Could we slip into these archetypes and roles too? All right, so that we're not just beating up on people. We want to identify these types of workers and then go, what do we do about it? All right, so here we go. Let's break it down. The first annoying coworker type would be the know-it-all. The know-it-all. I mean, have you ever noticed that the know-it-all has got supersonic hearing? You know what I'm talking about? Like, you're having a conversation with somebody, and you think you're having a conversation with one coworker. The know-it-all coworker always hears it, overhears it. So you're talking over here, know-it-all. Let's come up with a name, shall we? What would be a fantastic name for this? Let's call it Know-it-all Nelson. Nelson, that's a funny name. Know-it-all Nelson. So here you're having a conversation, and Know-it-all Nelson has got a pattern of saying, I'm sorry, what did you say? Did you mention coconuts? Whatever the word is. They find one entry point into your conversation, at which point Nelson invites himself into the conversation and begins to tell you everything he knows that you should know about coconuts. And again, folks, I'm picking a random topic. I mean, Know-it-all Nelson, they've got supersonic hearing, and they invite themselves in. And then they're always correcting, right? Harmless conversation, getting a cup of coffee, and they correct your grammar. It's actually whom, not who. Really, Nelson? It's 8:35. I'm not fully caffeinated. Would you relax, Nelson? Right, we know these know-it-alls. All right, let's go to number 2, the office gossip. Oh, boy. Right? Oh, boy. This is Gossipin' Gary. Notice I'm not picking any women's names. Guys, little separate content here that's not baked into the show, and I want to help you out. When you do this kind of teaching, you're trying to illustrate, you don't want to say gossiping any female name. This is a bad look, guys. Now, we will acknowledge that gossip is not related to one part of the anatomy, right? Females or males. It's just not. But we're going to go with Gossiping Gary for this illustration. And what does Gossiping Gary look like, sound like? Gossiping Gary is always finding an opportunity to go, did you hear about so-and-so? They have breaking news. They are the real-life version of the ticker that goes across the cable network. You know what I'm talking about? We watch TV. Ever since 9/11, this became a thing. You can't watch cable network without scrolling news. This is the gossip. All right? So just like in cable news, we have programming going on. This is the main thing. We also got the scroll. And the gossip in your office is that person. We're all trying to do our job. We know what the main thing is. And the gossip is always the scroll. Did you hear about this? What do you think about this? Just non-stop interruption. And they're also known for being very nice to the people they like to knock over, knock down. You know, like they're talking about this person. The person walks in the room and Gary pivots and goes, hey, man. And you've just been crushing them for 5 minutes to a coworker. All right, the next caricature, if you will, or character. The I'm too busy coworker. These people are exhausting. Can I just tell you, We're going to get 2 more. Of the 5, I'm jumping ahead and telling you, these people exhaust me more. I can put up with the gossip because you can just ignore them, right? It's kind of like, all right, I'm tuning this out. I'm not playing. The know-it-all, you can redirect them a little bit. They generally are going to bring something interesting to the conversation anyway. So it's like, I can deal with that. But the I'm too busy person, they're just so self-important. I can't help. I'm overwhelmed. I'm so busy. I can't help. I am more important than you. You know what I'm talking about? This lady out here in the lobby, you're laughing very hard at this. You're either laughing at my voice or this worker. It's like, what is the deal? Like, they're so important. They're so busy. I can't be bothered to help and be a part of the team. Those people, they're just afraid to ask for help too. Have you ever noticed that? They won't help you. They won't ask for help. There's a lot of fear going in. They're just like, they're trying to keep all the marbles from rolling off the table. Number 4, how about the loud talker? Oh boy. Now I got to be honest with you, Alex, I always try to see myself in these things, as you should the audience. You should too. Okay, this guy, are you married? Okay, there's a couple out in the audience. Nathan, I don't know if we could show these fine folks. They're sitting on the couch in front of the studio. And I said, I try to see a little bit of myself in all these things when I teach. And the loud talker, and this guy points at his wife. What is he thinking? Bro, you realize Valentine's Day is around the corner. You're going to have to double down this year. Ma'am, I don't think you're a loud talker. I can look at you and see I do not think you're a loud talker. But this guy points at his wife. What is he thinking? Well, I'll try to talk with you after the show, sir. You need some free coaching. I kid. You're a good man, but dangerous, very dangerous. But anyway, I'm loud. Amanda's saying to me through the glass, she's saying that she's loud too. But there's a difference between loud and this loud talker. The loud talker is like, everybody's going to worry, they come in, but hey, we're hot this weekend. It's like, whoa, man, we're trying to do something. Can I add something to the loud talker? I'm going to call this the singer-hummer. Same person. You got the loud talker who's completely unaware of how loud they are. All right. And they're bringing everybody else into the thing because they're so loud. And I've done this before because I get excited. So I'm owning this a little bit. But the singer hummer, you know what I'm talking about? This is the person that's like, we're in an office. We're in an open office. And they're like, whatever. They're just like, I'm just jumped into the middle of a Tom Petty song. Well, what's happening right now? It's like, that's annoying. It's like, give me a break. So I was talking to George Campbell, Ramsey Personality, about this in preparation for the show. And he gave me a great line. And I want to give it to the audience. He said, next time somebody does it, just go, hey, who sings that song? And then they tell you, and you go, yeah, so you don't need to. How about that little bonus content? Okay, so how do we wrap this up? The 5th person is the office creeper. I don't want to spend too much time on this because coming up next, Elizabeth is on the phone. And she's actually dealing with some difficult boss, even borderline creeper. So we're going to take this call and dive in, and then I'm going to bring in this teaching, and we're going to keep going and go, what do we do with these annoying workers? How do we react? How do we keep moving and not let them drag us down? Don't move. That call's coming up next.
You were created to fill a unique role in and through your work. Now, some of you may be going, I have no idea what that is. Some of you may be saying, I know what I want to do, but I don't know how to get there. I felt all of those emotions. I've been where you are, and I can tell you, there's hope. That's why I wrote the book, From Paycheck to Purpose. You can make the income you want and the impact that you desire. And I know that you have what it takes.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. Talking about annoying coworkers. How about that difficult person? I said office creeper. We're having a little bit of fun with that. They don't have to be creepy. They could just be a creep. Big difference. All right? They're just a jerk. Mean. Ornery. Cranky. Maybe we could pick any kind of adjective there. But you just don't want to be around them, right? That's that fifth person I mentioned briefly. Now, we're going to go to the phones because Elizabeth has got a call actually about a boss who I'm told here on the screen is pretty difficult stuff. So we're going to break this down. But then I want you to stay tuned here because I want to help Elizabeth. But then we're going to go right back to our opening teaching and go, okay, what are the solutions in dealing with, I had some fun with those types of workers, but those are real. And then how do we actually rise above and what are some solutions so that they don't get you down and get you so annoyed that they ruin your experience? So stay tuned for that. So here we go. Let's go to Elizabeth, who joins us in Raleigh, North Carolina. Elizabeth, what's going on today?
Hi, Ken. I'm excited to talk to you.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you. What's up?
So I have been in my current position for almost 3 years, and it's been exciting. It's been a challenge for me. I stepped out of my comfort zone. I've learned a lot. But the last 6 months, it has been very overwhelming, a little bit more stress involved with it, and not quite seeing just eye to eye with my boss.
Okay.
Normally, we have excellent communication, and we work really, really well together. But right now, we're just kind of butting heads. And it's very much becoming, this is my show, I want it done my way, and I'm trying to accommodate that, but it's been just more difficult communication.
Okay, so
and
this
I'm
is
not
interesting.
quite sure where to go from there.
Yeah, I understand. Let's see if we can figure it out. So one of the things I thought we need to focus on is you said normally we really get along great, but lately it's becoming, is it a guy or a gal?
It's a woman, yes.
Okay, so lately it's becoming her way or the highway, right?
Yes.
Well, so what's changed? What do you think has changed? If normally we get along great, but now all of a sudden this is becoming very authoritative, very dictator type, what's changed?
Well, I do work in healthcare, and it's just been a very stressful last 2 years.
Of course,
but even in the last 6 months, we're in an emergency department setting, so our volume has significantly increased, and there is a bit of a staffing crisis as well.
So can we say that pressure has been ratcheted up on her big time as the leader?
Very much so.
She's got more demand on her team and thus on her, and less resources to meet the demand.
Yes.
Okay. So, all right, let's take that. And I love your honesty, by the way. You're being very fair. It's coming out in a way where she's lost, in a sense, some control. So what's the natural human reaction when we feel like we're losing control? What do you think?
Just to kind of just go not blame somebody, but definitely just that stress response, that stress release comes out, and it can end in anger, I think. Yes.
Would you agree with me that when we feel like we're losing control, we try to control more?
Absolutely.
It's like when we feel we're losing the grip, what do? Do we just let go and go, wee, ah?
No.
What do we do?
No, we try to take more control of anything that we can get our hands on.
That's it. Now, I am in no way saying it's okay for her to be this way. I'm just trying to figure out, honestly, what the source of this change is, because it's been great. And now, in the last 6 months, it's been really not so good. Now, this is important for you and the audience as we opened up the show talking about annoying coworkers, and some are more annoying and more difficult than others. But when your boss is her way or the highway, and her intensity, I'm guessing, is ratcheted up, right? In the way she talks to you?
Yes.
Yeah. Is she micromanaging? Disagreeing with you? What else is really coming out?
It is micromanaging, in my opinion. And I did try to communicate that to her, and have discussions also related just to my capacity of being able to perform in what I'm doing, with also pulling myself into staffing to try and help the department and the team. And it wasn't received well. And I do consider communication to be a strong strength of mine for my skill set. So just hitting this roadblock, to call it, I don't really know how to move forward from it.
Right. So I think, based on what you just said, and I was going to say this anyway, but I think it verified this. You're going to have to, without going, hey, you're micromanaging me and blah, 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 because then she's defensive, I'm guessing, or doesn't see it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you have to address her fears. You have to go. You have
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, so the reason she's micromanaging you is because she's afraid that something's not being done, correct?
True.
Can you think of two, or you don't have to tell me for sake of time, but can you think of 2 or 3 instances where she's micromanaged you on something and she didn't actually correct you or change it? It was being done right and you did it right, but she was just kind of overbearing or whatever was going on. Can you think of a couple instances like that?
Yes.
All right. Can you also think, just really quickly, and this is an exercise I'm giving you too for later, what was she afraid of specifically in that moment? You know? What was she afraid of?
Mm-hmm.
Can you think of that?
The one incident I'm thinking of is would revolve around like staff opinion.
Okay, give me more.
As well.
We've got a minute or two on this. Tell me more.
We often discuss scheduling and the department needs and trying to balance that around people's lifestyles. And the task is mine. It always has been mine. But here recently, she wants to review it before it's posted out for staff, which I completely understand, but that's something that's new. She's never wanted to see that before.
Okay. So now, in that situation, is that really, how does that make you feel when she wants to see that, when she hasn't used to, she's not used to reviewing it. Now all of a sudden she does. How does it make you feel? I want you to be really vulnerable here.
That I'm not reaching her expectation, that my skills have changed and I'm not reaching the level that she expected of me.
Okay, that's fair. When she reviewed it, did she make wholesale changes?
She did. She did.
And did you agree?
It really just bothered me. Like, it kind of got on my nerves.
I get it.
Because I put a lot of time and effort into it, to coordinating and speaking to everybody.
Right. Did she agree?
It's a very time-consuming task.
I get it. And she marked it all up, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, listen, I remember doing term papers in college or in high school and feeling pretty darn good about myself. And then I got it back and it had all kinds of red on it, and I didn't feel so hot about myself either.
Exactly.
But my question is, did you agree with her changes?
No.
You didn't agree?
Mm-mm.
So that made it worse.
Yeah.
Well, why is she making those changes? You don't have to answer that right now, but that's what's going on. Your job is to go, why is she making the changes? Is it because all of a sudden she's lost faith in me? I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case at all. I think she's got some fear that are driving some things, and her fears may make her opinion on communication totally different than yours. And so therein lies the lesson for not just Elizabeth, but for the rest of you. When we're dealing with difficult people, at some point we're going to have to step back from the irritation and go, let's have some grace, and go with a question of why, not putting them on the defensive and not asking them why, but asking yourself, why would they be acting this way? What would be a belief or a feeling, so a thought or a feeling that would drive these actions? And Elizabeth, in this situation, a controlling, micromanaging boss, I don't think she's lost faith in you. I think she's scared. And with communication on something you've done before, now she wants to change it to make sure all the things are hit because she's worried, she's afraid. Find out what she's afraid of. Say, oh, I see you wrote it this way. How can I help express this message? Don't take it personal. Dive in a little bit more. This has been a good relationship before. Just because it's uptight doesn't mean it's bad. Stay tuned. More coming right up. Do you know what you were born to do? In order to get hired at a job you love, you need to get clear on your talent, passion, and mission. That's why our team created the Career Clarity Guide. In just a few minutes, this free tool will walk you through a process to discover what you do best: talent, the work you love to do, passion, and the results you want your work to produce. That's mission. Then you're going to feel way more confident throughout the job search process. To get started, go now to kencoleman.com/clarity. folks, welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show, helping you win at work and life. During the brief break, I looked into the chat room for our viewers and specifically those that are on YouTube watching live. And when I did the first segment, I was talking about annoying coworkers, and one of them was the loud talker, and then I added to that one the singer hummer. And a guy named Christopher in the chat room goes, "Wow, really beating up on the office singer. I try to moderate myself in both volume and duration, but sometimes it just helps with the mood to hum something now and then." Christopher, I'm really not banging on you, man. I'm having a little bit of fun, although I do find that annoying. I will speak on behalf of all your coworkers that are like me. You're trying to change your mood, and I appreciate that. Maybe go to the parking lot if you want to hum or sing out loud. Some of us, we're fine with our mood, and we don't want to hear you hum. But I think that was so funny. Christopher, you're awesome. Thank you, man, for engaging in the chat room. Hey, my dad used to give me a phrase on this kind of stuff. He goes, if you throw a rock at a pack of dogs, you'll always know the one you hit because he's the one that comes out barking, right? So, Christopher, I stepped on your toes a little too much. I'm sorry. But on behalf of all your coworkers, I think they're probably happy that I did. Hey, there's been a lot of buzz lately about Phil from ZipRecruiter. And there have been a lot of thank you Phils going around. Here's an example of some things people are saying on the internet. Liliana G said, "I am super thankful for Phil at ZipRecruiter. He made my whole job search easier, and he helped land me a job. That Phil sounds like someone you want in your corner, especially for an easier job search. What job will Phil help you discover? Find out at ZipRecruiter.com. That's ZipRecruiter.com. And if you talk to Phil, would you please tell him Ken said hi? Seems like a wonderful fella." 844-747-2577 if you want to jump into the narrative, the conversation as we have it here on the show. Okay, this horrible boss thing, well, you got to deal with it. And I'm a man of the people. And I'm here to help you deal with your horrible bosses. Let's get to it. Here's our next installment of Horrible Bosses. All right. This source comes from BuzzFeed. And I don't recommend you spending a whole lot of time on BuzzFeed because, it's just a lot of garbage out there. But this is actually a really compelling story in its awfulness. And yet, I want to say this, I'm going to bang on horrible leadership, but I'm also going to simultaneously say these are people that are hurting. These are people that are ill-equipped to lead. And so we've got to acknowledge this stuff, but also have some sense of grace. Here we go, because this one actually has a this is a roller coaster, this story. We got some good, we got some unbelievably awful, and then it ends in good. Here's the headline from BuzzFeed. This woman had 2 jobs. She found out her sister was dying. Here's how each boss reacted when she told them she needed time off to go see her sister. So Hillary Zinks is the hero in the story. There she is, for those of you that are watching. We've got her up on the screen there. Look at that. Big smile, beautiful picture. That's Hillary. She is a makeup and effects artist in the film industry. And she also has a side hustle as a waitress at a local resort. So she, last month, she was on set in the film industry job. She gets a call that her sister has been declared brain dead. Sister's in the hospital, and the doctors have declared her brain dead. And the nurses were basically saying, hey, we need next of kin to make some decisions if we have to. But right now, we're not ready to make that call. She's brain dead, but we got to start making preparation for this. And of course, she said, I was brokenhearted and I was frozen. I didn't even have time to register all this. But I knew I had to leave. So when she told her first boss, the department head of a TV series she was working on, she was treated with basic human empathy. She made me feel like a human being and not just a workhorse. There were no questions asked except concern and curiosity about the situation. She goes on to say she saw me as a complete human with a life and a family just as complex as her own. Now listen, leaders, I felt understood, appreciated, and cared for. However, when she told her other boss, this is at the resort, when she told the other boss about the situation and why she would not be able to make it to work later that day, this is the text. We're going to put this on the screen. This is the text she got. Oh, this has just got all kinds of empathy and compassion dripping off of it. I do understand, and I'm sorry for what you're experiencing. Okay, good start. We're off to a good start. And then all of a sudden, we decide to nosedive the plane. Nice takeoff. Leave it up there. Go back 1 second. I'm sorry, I had to make a comment. I'm curious why you're letting me know 2 hours prior to your shift. Are you kidding me? Oh, I'm sorry. I should have told the doctors not to call me. Or maybe better yet, I'm sorry my sister's medical condition of being brain dead didn't happen at the right time of day for you. This is what we're talking about. All right, next screen. Like I said, so we get that part out. Now I'm going to break this down because I'm going to show some grace for this leader. So stay tuned. Like I said, I have great compassion and sorrow for what you're experiencing. Though, it's like, what is going on? We got left jab of compassion. Bam, I'm going to hit you over the head with some guilt. Back to it again. Though it is my job to create a positive work environment for all the staff, we have a 50 top today and only 2 scheduled staff members are expected for the shift. We will make it work. We always do. It just makes it hard on the crew that does show up. So we're going to slap some massive guilt on a hurting worker. So this is what Hillary said. She said, I was angry and upset about it the rest of the drive to the hospital. The closer I got to the hospital, the more I realized how her behavior was absolutely unacceptable, and I couldn't work for her any longer. So Hillary gets to the hospital, and she quits. She then decides to share the story on TikTok, which is how we came about seeing this. Hillary's video goes viral, of course, because this is next level awfulness. And then the comment section is full of people sharing how terribly they've been treated at work. I'll come back to that. A few days after, now I told you it ended well. A few days after the terrible interaction, Hillary gets a call from the resort where she was working and was informed that the old boss was no longer there. The supervisor asked me about my sister. I let him know that she had died that weekend, and his heart sank for me. He then offered me my job back. I gave myself a few weeks to grieve, and then I let him know I'd come back. Now, I want to break this part down of the story. Supervisor hears about the story, correctly fires a very unhealthy, horrible leader, calls Hillary and says, hey, what's going on? I want you to know that I fired that person for how they treated you. What's happening? Gets an update, shows some empathy, and then says, hey, you didn't deserve to lose your job. It's here for you if you want it. She takes some time in the midst of grieving and then decides to come back. This is great leadership. Leadership that just said, I acknowledge as the leader, even though I was not involved, that what we did to you was wrong, and I want to make it right. And even though she was terribly wrong, and it would be totally normal and okay, in my opinion, if Hillary said, go pound sand. She grieves, she gets perspective, and because even where she felt like unbelievably devalued by the former boss, the boss up the ladder immediately restores it by showing her value, taking blame, and saying, we want to do what's right. The value is restored, and she comes back. This is the lesson. Now, horrible leaders are not horrible people. Horrible leaders are people that are hurting, that are confused, that are stressed, and they do things that they shouldn't do. Please separate the leadership decision from the person because they're hurting. Give them some grace. Coming up in the news, you're not going to believe this story. Are you wondering if you should leave your current job or stay put? Well, you're not alone. That's why we created the Should I Quit My Job quiz. In just 5 minutes or less, this quiz will help you determine if you're at the right company and if you're in the right role. And if you need to make a move, you'll get practical steps to keep you moving forward. Folks, it's time to get unstuck. Life is too short not to do what you were created to do. Go take the quiz right now at kencoleman.com/quiz. All right, folks, welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. So excited that you're with us. We're helping you win at work so that you can win in life. Because I'm telling you, those two are connected, and we can help you. 844-747-2577. Some hilarious and very interesting comments in the chat room of our YouTube live audience. For those that are watching, I love it. Can I just say to you in the chat room live, keep them coming. I'm going to get to these in our bonus segment. Couple that I can't wait to. And Alex is like, please, Ken, pay attention to the rest of the show. I'm being pulled over here. There's some really good stuff in the chat room. Love it, love it, love it. We'll get to that in just a moment. But let's dive into more disturbing data straight out of the headlines in the news. Headline from Yahoo News: The Great Resignation is coming to decimate the ranks of middle management. So Vizier, or Vizier, spelled Visier. See, that makes me, I get into quick ADHD land with that one. Is it Vizier or is it Vizier? I don't know. I'm going to say it both ways. That way I've fully offended everyone from that company. They did some research, and they found that highly effective managers, leaders, drive 48% greater profits for their organization than average managers. Not surprising, but that is a pretty substantial amount. On the whole, managers over the last couple of years, as the pandemic extended, and we had all different kinds of work challenges as a result of it, you can imagine leaders have been squeezed from both sides. If you think about this, whether it's a public company, a large company, or it's a small business, so you've got what we'll call your C-suite, which just means your top-level executives. It doesn't matter the size of the company, okay? So if your top-level executives, if they've got a management team below them, what do they expect? I mean, what are they driving from those leaders? Culture, retention, employee performance, supporting the team. That's what executives are expecting the managers to do. Oh, but then you've got workers who, because maybe a bunch of people left, went home, wouldn't come back, whatever, what are they looking to their manager for? They're looking to their manager for support, instruction, training, value. So just for a moment, let's just be really honest about what's going on for a lot of managers. They're getting pressure and expectations from the top. They're getting pressure and expectation from the bottom. And we're not even mentioning kind of the expectation coming straight at them, which is customers. It's a tough gig, folks. I just want to call this out. And not only is it a tough gig, it's even tougher under the last 2 years, these circumstances. It was tough pre-pandemic. The pandemic just made it really, really tough. So let's keep going. Humu, an automated software platform, surveyed 200 managers, 200 HR leaders, and analyzed data from 90,000 employees for their State of the Manager report. It found that being a boss is more challenging and less rewarding than it's ever been. I just addressed that. Vizier, we don't know how to say it. They had a survey that found that 71% of employees experienced burnout in 2020. In 2021, the figure jumped to 90%. It's getting worse on burnout. Almost half, 44% of managers said combating team burnout and balancing workloads was one of their 3 biggest priorities. And they're exhausted. Gallup research showed that burnout among managers jumped 25% last year. How's the hybrid work model addressing this problem? Humu found in their state of work study that It's not working. 7 in 10 hybrid employees said they felt disconnected from their coworkers. 2 in 3 felt left out when they're not working in the office. Humu CEO Laszlo Bach told Fortune magazine the rate of managers leaving is doubling. Suddenly, you have an entire generation of leadership that's just gone away. Whoa! You see the compound effects of this. In Humu's survey, retention topped the list for managers' biggest challenges, followed by hiring, team performance, and communication. So retention, and it's happening even worse. We see these numbers, job numbers, over 4 million people the last 5 months per month are leaving. And employees who don't see growth opportunities to their companies are 8 times more eager to leave. Managers feel the same way. So leaders at the top, you got to give some resources to managers so that they can give resources and support to the people they're leading. This is how we stop the bleeding. Don't move. Your call's coming up next. According to Glassdoor, the average job offer attracts over 250 applicants. So if you've made it to the interview, you've already made a great impression. So now is your time to showcase how you are the best choice for this role. That's why we created How to Win the Interview. This free guide will walk you through the 5 strategies to help you stand out amongst the competition. With just a little intentionality, you can prepare yourself to win the interview. To get it, go to kencoleman.com/interview. All right, folks, welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. Big theme today. Annoying coworkers, difficult leadership. It squeezes you. I wouldn't want to go into the office if I was dealing with that kind of crap day in, day out, and you don't either. So what do we do about it? A big part of it, obviously, we've been talking about this, just kind of a review here. We've got to have some empathy, some grace, and then we got to decide, well, okay, what's the tipping point to where there's really nothing more that I can do about it, and I can't just avoid it anymore. This is when we decide it's time to leave. Let's go to Des, who is in St. Paul, Minnesota. Des, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Mr. Coleman. Thank you for taking my call.
You bet, Des. What's going on today?
Well, I would like to ask a question that may be somewhat uncomfortable to hear and discuss.
That's fine.
So essentially, I'm an HR officer and business strategist for a startup women-run company.
Okay.
And the business is a woman-owned and run consulting company, which trains leadership development skills for women, mentors women during their business ownership journey, and even consults employers in their diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives.
Okay.
So we're facing a challenge right now that's becoming more and more difficult to navigate, and it's becoming very traumatizing. So
Okay.
I'll just cut to the chase of the question to place the big elephant in the room.
Okay.
So how can independent businesswomen protect themselves from male leaders who make unwanted and unprofessional sexual advances, or any advances at that? And how can we protect ourselves without the fear of retaliation of having our business opportunities impacted?
Okay,
Do you have any suggestions?
Yeah. I mean, so let me make sure I understand this. Due to the nature of your company, you guys are consulting for these female leaders, and you're getting a lot of this. They're going, hey, we need help. I'm facing unwanted sexual advances from male leaders. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. And you're trying to say, how do we best advise them?
And we've done some things to help mitigate that risk, like trying to limit sales calls and meetings to Zoom and Microsoft Teams, for instance.
Yeah.
We always travel in twos.
Yeah. Oh, so are you experiencing this as well?
Yes.
Okay. No, that changed the whole call. So you're facing
Well,
this.
it does. I have, but I have had other, but we have all the other consultants are having the same issue.
Okay, great. Wow. All right. So now here's the deal. I'm going to address this as Ken, your coach, but I'm also going to address this as Ken, Stacy's husband. I don't know that I can separate the two.
Okay.
So when we're talking about an unwanted sexual advance, while I appreciate what you guys have tried to do to mitigate it, when a dude makes a sexual advance and he makes it, and it, first of all, he shouldn't be doing it, period, in the workplace. But when it's clear that it's unwanted, the issue is not how do we deal with it without retaliation, because retaliation is not the thing we're worried about. What we need to do is stop this nonsense and make it clear that it needs to be stopped, because it's a far bigger issue. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not in any way trying to minimize the complexity of it. But what I'm saying is if my wife is in a professional work environment and a leader, somebody who is in authority over her, makes an unwanted sexual advance, our conversation is not how do we try to avoid that guy anymore. The issue is how do we catch him with evidence and take it above him and get his butt fired. I'm more concerned about Stacy's retaliation and your retaliation than I am about you just trying to avoid it, because it is wrong for this stuff to go on, and it is wrong that you're focused, and not you're not wrong. I'm saying it is wrong in society, and it is horrible that you would have to try to come up with strategies to try to avoid it. Once it's happened once, we're trying to catch it and prove it the second time and get his butt fired.
Well, that's fine. That's easier said than done.
Is
Mr.
it?
Coleman.
Is it? And I'm not saying that it isn't. Educate me on why. I mean, why are we trying to avoid the jerk as opposed to catch the jerk, prove the jerk with proof, and take it up the ladder to where this is lawsuit stuff, and anybody, even if they're a horrible leader and they love that guy, if they try to protect them with real evidence, you win anyway. So I'm helping me understand how it's easier said than done, and I'm not disagreeing with you.
Well, yes, and I would say this. So if you're an independent and you're a women business owner and you're trying to get clients, especially when you're on a startup, it is statistically, I have seen this myself, where the businesses all of a sudden shun the women-owned business because they called them on the carpet on their crap.
Yeah, but what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but my point is
retaliation.
Yeah, but my point is that you give me so we've got some time here. We got a couple minutes to dive into this. So this is you are consulting women-owned businesses, independent. So they are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, right?
Yes, well, they're all entrepreneurs, and we have several.
No, I get that. I get that. But I want to make sure I understand your logic. So these women go and they try to sign up a client, which is another company. Am I still right?
Sure. Yes.
For their services or products or whatever. And in the engagement, whether they're trying to sign them up or they've already signed them up, and then all of a sudden a male executive at their client company makes an unwanted sexual advance. Is this what's happening?
Well, it's sort of, but I think what we're doing here is that when I go to a sales call and I've been invited, they want to look at what our services are. I go to that business, and whether I go to that business or I meet them at a coffee shop, the sales call where the essentially you get there and it's under false pretenses.
Right, but here's my point. You called me saying, Ken, how do I deal with that without retaliation? But my point is I feel like that's the wrong question, but correct me if I'm wrong. Here's where I'm coming at this. I want you to never work with that person again. Like, I don't want you to go, well, if we just do Zoom calls, well, if that guy's a creep, he's going to make that advance over the Zoom call just as he did at the coffee shop. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, we would agree with that. But we do not, we don't do business with them anymore.
Yeah, but so that's what I agree with. I think you go, look, if we lose business, we lose business. But we're not going to subject ourselves to guys who objectify you.
But if this continues, we will not have business.
That's not true. You're assuming that every company you work with is going to have a guy that's a total sexual creep?
Well, it has been for us. It's not been every call, but it is becoming a essentially we're seeing it more and more.
I get it.
And we're trying.
But you can't stop being
to make it.
I get it. But my point is that you can't solve the societal issue to where guys act that way. I wish we could, but there are just jerks out there who they're just looking for any kind of score, or it's some big game to them, and they objectify you because they find you attractive. That's wrong on every level. But my point is, you can't stop being in business. You got a very awesome mission. You are helping women grow their businesses. And when they face that crap from men, they just got to turn around and go, nope, I'm not going to allow that. I'm not going to objectify myself and allow myself to be treated this way. And if I lose business on that, that is what it is, but there's plenty more business out there where there are good and decent people. That's all I'm saying.
How can women address or call out the behavior while it's happening and still feel safe and confident to do so? We've had instances where
I totally get that. So if it's public, I'm standing up, excusing myself to the bathroom, and I'm out the door, and I'm never coming back again. Just leave and walk away.
Thanks for listening to The Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. We're in our bonus session for our video viewers. And we're going to go to Brenda in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Brenda, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken, it's a pleasure to talk to you, and it's a great opportunity to talk to you. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to. What's up?
So, okay, Ken, I just got out of a toxic job environment. And I decided that I would not continue another year. And I was listening to your show previously, and management, I know, was under probably a lot of pressure, but it reflected on us. And our salaries were frozen for like 3 years, and then we got reviewed, only to be told, like, you know, you could do better, and the raise wasn't significant at all. I mean, it was really, really bad. So anyhow, I went with the first job that offered me a better pay and an opportunity.
Yeah.
But during this time, I've been waiting since end of December. I kind of started this process in November, and onboarding took quite a bit, which kind of made me doubt I would even get the job. So I started applying other places, but it finally went through, and I accepted an offer. But let me go back a little bit. I accepted the offer, but I still had to go through onboarding. And during the onboarding, it was taking a long time, so I started applying other places. And I soon discovered that what I used to do, which I like to do, which is in accounting, there was a lot of job opportunities that I had not researched. But I've already accepted this offer at this first job that offered me a job, and I'm not sure if I'm making the right decision.
Yeah, I think you know you're not making the right decision. And you're kind of going, kid, help me, help me, help me. I don't think this is the right fit for me, but am I being flaky? Is that what you're feeling?
Yes, I feel like I'm being flaky, but at the same time, I don't want to put nobody down. Or, you know, he contacted me and he said, Brenda, I got an opportunity for you, and it sounded really good, and I was in a toxic situation.
Yeah, and you were like, yes, I need an escape, right?
Yes, I love it. Yes, please. And I did take it, and I accepted the offer.
Yeah.
I am to begin work.
So let's reframe
Monday.
this. So let's reframe this, because you're not You're not flaking. You are not a flake. You're actually pretty darn self-aware is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing an aware person who goes, you know what? I was in a toxic situation and I was given an exit ramp. And of course I'm going to take the exit ramp, but I took the exit ramp and I realized that this is not the best fit for me either. So I think you're such a nice person. I actually think your character and your personality are so great that you're like, am I a big jerk if I, after all of this, go, this isn't right for me? And the answer is unequivocally, no, you're not a jerk. You're not a flake. I think you're very self-aware, and I think you're saving yourself more frustration, because why say yes to this now, having a darn good feeling that this isn't right for you? So when is it right for you to leave? At what point does your guilt go away? 6 more months of going through the motions? A year? Am I starting to sound like I'm on it?
Yes.
So
I'm about to come to tears because that is totally true.
Okay. Well, first of all, it's fine to cry. And we've got to ask ourselves, why are we emotional? Because I think it's confirmation that you shouldn't do this. You've been through a really tough situation. You don't owe it to these people, this guy who gave you the offer. You don't owe it to the world to take the wrong thing for you. You owe it to yourself to do what's right for you. You feel me?
Yes, and I think the previous job was so toxic that I was like, whatever comes up, and I wasn't looking. They actually called me and said, hey, I heard way back, then that you were looking, and so I'm just calling you to say that there's an opportunity. And it's a whole different realm than accounting, which I'm used to accounting. I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
At these other jobs, I'd be working remotely and be with my kids. And I think that's one of the most important things that is kind of steering me the other way.
Great.
But this new opportunity is more of a helping people in their finances, which I've always been attracted to.
What do you want to do? Brenda, you don't have to explain any more to me. I think you're absolutely on target. Number one, you should not take the gig that you just recently took. We agree on that, yes?
Yes.
So what do you want to do?
Well, I think I always second guess myself. I'm known to do that.
I know. That's why I'm asking you, what do you want to do? I'm trying to get Brenda to stop thinking and start feeling. There we go. There we go. There's the giggle of recognition. Oh, Ken just got me. I want you to stop thinking.
You're spot on.
Well, because I've been there. You're talking to a world-class overanalyzer right now. All right?
Oh, gosh.
Hey, listen, no, I'm serious. I'll get inside my own head and beat something every which way it needs to be beaten. It's ridiculous. So I feel you. I need you to feel. What do you want to do? Say it. Don't think, say it. What do you want to do? What would be ideal?
Okay. So after 10 years of not being in college, I went back and I did accounting. I used to own a restaurant, and I worked in restaurants for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. And I went back to accounting because I like it. I'm comfortable. I know how to do it. I'm good at it. It's been a blessing because I've been able to. It's very flexible with my job, and
you can do it remote.
With my kids, and I can do it remote. And
so, Brenda,
I think the most important right now is my kids in their stage right now, that I can do both. I can balance my family and be with them.
Good. So, Brenda,
and then I also can be doing what I love to do, even though sometimes in the back of my head I'm like, I wish I could, because I've always I've listened to Dave Ramsey on and off, and you, Ken Coleman, and I'm like, I like what y'all have to say, and y'all have helped me a lot get to where I'm at right now, because budgeting, and I wouldn't have been able to if I wouldn't have listened to all of your principles.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm calling you, because I'm like, Ken would know.
Brenda, I know exactly what to say. I know exactly what to say because I just listened to you.
Mm-hmm.
Brenda, you want to do accounting, maybe eventually get into some financial coaching. Who knows? You got all kinds of little thoughts around that, but you want to do accounting work. crunching numbers because you're good at it, you enjoy it, and you see a direct connection to a missional result for you. And you want to do it in your home environment so that you can be there more for your kids. You know you can do it. Your confidence is actually high that you can do that. So go do that.
Okay.
So it starts with you calling this guy up and going, hey, thank you very much. I've had some things change. I'm sorry for any inconvenience it causes you, but I just know that this is the right move, and I don't want to take something that I know is not right and then come to you 6 months later. So I need to tell you on the outset. And if the guy is rude, if he's a jerk and he's disappointed, maybe he's nice, but he's really disappointed, you're still doing the right thing. You understand?
Right. And I want to be able to live with that, doing the right thing.
Yes. And by the way, if you do that, you will live with yourself beautifully. But if you were to try to take this job because you feel bad, you're not going to be very happy with yourself over the next 6 months, being away from those babies, doing work you really don't want to do in a place that you don't want to do it. So, Brenda, we are done talking and thinking. We are going to act, aren't we, Brenda?
We are going to act and not overthink it.
Yes,
because I've
ma'am.
been overthinking, and I've had a lot of anxiety lately.
I know.
haven't been sleeping.
Yes. You know why? Because you're too busy thinking. You know exactly what you're supposed to do. You know why you're supposed to do it. And the best part of all this is you know how to do it. So go do it.
Oh, my gosh. You're a blessing.
Well, I don't know about that, but you're awesome. All right? You're awesome. That's why I do what I do. Brenda, be you. Be you. Hey, we're running out of time. Sorry, chat room. You all are amazing. We'll talk to you in a future show. Don't you dare leave the chat room. Hey, you matter. You have what it takes. This is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.